today. All right, so we were talking a little bit about Fett'S ship and fundamentalists. I mean, and the thing about it is, when you've got someone, when they informing narratives, we've got a narrative, and there's a narrative I hold to. Disney allowed the wrong people to run around and, ruin Star Wars. Now it looks like those people are on their way out. And, hi, Jeremy. Well, there's a lot of really good stuff on, in the EU. There's a great book, Howdy Mad. Hey, Revan. Sorry I had to leave, but I had to take a potty break, and there's no way to pause this thing. But anyway, what I wanted to say was, we've all got our narratives, and the correct narrative is Disney screwed up. They allowed Kathleen Kennedy to do what she wanted to with Star Wars, or just ignore what was happening with it, which makes more sense to me, because I really do think that the absentee mom and, letting Hidalgo and the rest of them act like latchkey kids is the right definition. That's the narrative, and that's the narrative I hold to. I don't hold to the narrative that that Disney's not fixing it. And the reason is, you guys know me. I look at how much money they're losing. I look at what the shares are doing, projects that are being shelved in the parks, the expansion for Galaxy's Edge stopped, the rumored, obvious now, rumor that, good morning, John 42, that they're going to replace the sequel trilogy in the parks with Mandalorian, which means it's going to be a timeline that OT fans like. Okay, because maybe we'll get to see Luke, Han, get rid of Hondo and everything. But there are people out there that can't see it, and I'm not going to name them, but you know who they are. You know what big channel they kind of congregate around. I call it the angry fanboy contingent. They're irrational, okay? And, and we talked a little bit about the EU fundamentalists. There are many great books outside the Thrawn trilogy. Tatooine Ghost. Courtship of Princess Leia is okay. I suggest to read it just to read it. Darth Plagueis is fantastic. Honor Among Thieves is one of the best books in the EU. Let's see what else. We've got the Jedi Academy books. Truce of Bakura. A lot of them are really, really good. Kenobi is good. And I want to you guys to understand that as many good books as there are some really stupid ideas. Like one of my favorite trilogies, because of course Harrison Ford, Han Solo, he'd love that, is my favorite character in Star Wars. The A.C. Crispin and even the Brian Daley Han Solo trilogy novels. There are 3 stories Daley wrote, and A.C. Crispin's 3 novels. And there are some flaws. If you please go and read, I have a link on the community page on this channel. I linked my opening shot in the Han Solo thing. It's called One Night on Nar Shaddaa. You got to read it. It's on the community page. You'll see characters that Lico drew up for me. Please go and hit the link and read it and let me know. I love input, negative or not. I haven't gotten any input from anybody, which kind of disappoints me greatly because now I think everybody hates it. So, if you hate it, let me know. If you love it, let me know. If you think I should change things, trust me, I'll take it under advisement. Okay. So anyway, but AC Crispin did a couple of things I didn't like. First off, in Paradise Snare, there's this planet called Elysia is run by these creatures that are in the evolutionary line are evolutionary kind of relations to the Hutts, and they make a sound that causes humans to become addicted. I thought that was stupid. Just just use spice addicts. Just do that. And then the second one, Han meets this woman who's an illusionist. And I'm not happy with that. He goes off on the show and does Bronco Billy shit. And it's like, and there's a kind of an echo back in the Brian Daley books, Han Solo at Star's End or something like that. They get the character right, almost. Yeah, well, what she does is she comes up with these things, and it's pretty cool, but still, it's stupid. This is a Western. All right, there's a way to do a show like that. Go watch Tombstone. Okay. There's a way to do something like that, making it realistic, and making it. But this is just went off and goofy shit. Okay, just totally fucking goofy, and I don't. There's that's interesting, and when you read that stuff, you're like, it's all very, they're not bad in of themselves, but the stories could be better. Okay. Rebel Dawn is the best one. In fact, there's a scene in there towards the end where Han is really pissed off at his ex-girlfriend because she screws him over. Okay, let's put it this way. Bria Theron, Quira, the mousy, skinny little bitch, couldn't carry Bria Theron's flight helmet. She couldn't. Bria Theron's a badass. But she does something on behalf of the Rebel Alliance that screws Han over. And he lets her know. I mean, he is pissed. And I gotta say, seeing that side of that character was very refreshing. You get a sense of a real dark character. And in my opinion, I think the character needs that. We've got Unforgiven, we've got Pale Rider, Man with No Name, Fistful of Dollars, Hang 'em High, The Searchers, all that. When I write about characters like this, I want to see some of those darker elements. Okay, they're very important if you're going to write a Western, and ultimately, part of Star Wars is a Western. Okay, that's really, really, really important. And get a reality. Okay, we're not talking about Boy Scouts here. All right, get a certain reality about the character that you can grab onto. All right, that there's a decency about him, but there's also that sense of survival. Okay, and there's also that sense of, I'm gonna screw you over. Okay, and that's part of a Western. Okay, the guys that went across the Great Plains and started towns like Tombstone and Prescott, Arizona, and Deadwood, they weren't gentle, loving. They weren't saints. You couldn't be a true saint and survive in that. Okay, they were gamblers. They were gunfighters. They were murderers and thieves. They were horse thieves, which was a hanging offense, right? And with good reason. If you stole somebody's horses and you left them afoot, they'd die. You leave them at the mercy of whoever else came after. This is why horse thieves got hung, okay? And if they murdered someone, then it was really bad. Okay, if they murdered whomever they stole the horses from, then that was really bad. So you gotta have that element. And when I look at what Filoni's trying to do, showing the underworld of Star Wars and the Bad Batch, I kind of get a sense that he's heading towards that, and I like that. But in the EU, there are problems, and I'm trying to point out the problems. Okay, in a lot of this, it's really, and it's not hard to do. To look at a body of work, fictional novels, and not see that there are problems, there's something wrong. There's a lack of objectivity, okay? And I think intelligent people have to have that objectivity in them. Reading anything, like if you open up War and Remembrance, that great big, fat, over 1,000 pages, it's like that thick. And it's about World War II. It was written by Herman Wouk, who died not too long ago, over 100 years old. It is the second. It is the sequel to The Winds of War. And it's a fantastic history, but I had problems with it. I didn't like, Rhoda Henry's affairs. I thought that was a stupid soap opera pile of bullshit. The fact that you got this young 25-year-old girl chasing this old American admiral around. I just thought that was stupid. And there were some really but kind of cringy things, but still a great story. Yeah, and you're right, Bill. I mean, you're right. I mean, there aren't, and that's another thing you have to take into consideration. There are things in the EU that if you're, hey, House Atreides, right? I say that right. There are things in the EU that you just couldn't put up on a live screen. All right, like if I was going to say, okay, we're gonna do the Ghosts of the Tatooine Ghost in a movie, I probably do animated. I do digital. I would make the characters look as similar to the actors that played them as I could, because I gotta say, watching Clone Wars and seeing Anakin with that scooped out nose, first up, what the fuck? I mean, not everybody has that stupid scooped out. What the hell? It's like, stop that. I hate that. I don't like the anime. I like the stories. I don't like the animation. You gotta make them look like they do. Okay, you gotta make them look like Hayden Christensen and, the only one that looks right is Obi-Wan and Yoda and everything. But when you got Natalie Portman looking, I mean, she don't look as bad as some, but still, okay. But I would do that movie digitally, because Carrie's gone. Harrison is way too old to play that now. Han was, it's 5 years, 6 years after A New Hope, so he'd be about 40. Leia would be almost 30. She'd be 30, about. Okay, so you gotta add that, and but it's such a great story. It should be in a movie. Oh yeah, yeah. Planet Musk. First off, it's only Lego that did it. And the reason why Lego did it is because if you Google Slave One, you're going to get a lot of references to adult sex toys. Okay? Go and look. on Star Wars. In fact, Maze, if you could put up a link to that thing you showed me, I would appreciate it. And the reason is this: Disney didn't change it, just Lego, and it's only on Lego. Okay, all right. And the reason why is because if you're a little kid and you're on Google and you look up the name of the ship, you're gonna be like, "Daddy, what is this for?" I mean, think about it. All right. I think everybody's losing their shit for no reason. Now, plenty of people within that group will rationalize it. Thank you. Um, they'll rationalize it so they can keep their clicks and get you all spun up, and it fits the narrative that okay, good, okay, good, but it they're probably burying that then, but you know it was a thing. Okay, they haven't changed it. And I really think the only ones that are doing that is Lego. Okay. And, Lego isn't Disney. They've got the license. They're not Disney. Um, and really, this just, yeah, Django Fett's ship. Okay. Um, and there's nothing been changed officially. But again, you got to understand is that there are people out there that have a narrative that Disney can't do anything right, that even The Mandalorian sucks. Um, you know, uh, and if they can get clicks and make advertising money with this, they will do it. And they're not helping their cause. Okay, you don't help your cause by running with the first thing you hear. First off, that's not good news reporting. Back in the day, they used to actually have to investigate before they opened up their wide open yaps on TV. All right, now they don't anymore because they have a narrative and they go with the first thing they hear. And then weeks later, they have to retract everything that they said because it was all wrong. I don't do that here. Um, so first, changing the name Slave One to Boba Fett Starship fits a narrative. It fits the narrative that Disney can't do anything right, Kathleen Kennedy's not leaving, and all that bullshit. And the reason why they keep doing that, and they keep putting people out there that aren't even has-beens, there never was in Hollywood. They're uploading or they're they're foistering people who aren't even has-beens. There never wases in Hollywood. Over, let's see, Indiana Jones 5 is being delayed 6 weeks. No, it's not. They're still filming. They're still fucking filming. Okay, so that was wrong. That was wrong. Okay. All right. They're not going to say they were wrong. They want you to believe all the bullshit. Literally. Oh, I know, but you got to understand, Senator Dave, when you've got someone who never really did anything in Hollywood wandering around saying, I wish I was wrong about this, but, and everybody kisses his ass because for some reason, even before people that are actually still in Hollywood, they're still in Hollywood, who are saying a completely different story, you have a problem. Okay. My thing is this. Eventually, this is all going to catch up. And everyone's going to realize that, and that'll go away. But until it does, we're going to have the never wases showing up and getting their asses kissed. Okay? and causing problems for directors and stuff like that. And you know, it's like I say, you have a podcast. It's right up there with with the Joe Rogan Experience, isn't it? You know, we have a dearth, a problem in the fandom, and it's society wide. We have a dearth of intellectual curiosity. All right, when you run with something like Indiana Jones 5, Indiana Jones 5 is in 6 weeks delay because Ford hurt his shoulder. And then you find out it's still filming. They're not going to talk about it. They're not. They're not going to say a word. Okay. I put the word out to the people that needed to know. Nothing. Okay. And that's fine. I don't care. That's fine. All right. Then you've got, but I was right. Then you've got Kathleen Kennedy isn't leaving. Well, it doesn't look like she's getting her contract renewed. She's not running Lucasfilm anymore because she's off in London, in England, filming Indy 5. Okay? And if it is delayed a little bit till they can get Harry back, and he's, 100%, she'll be there as long as it needs to. Okay? I thought this, when I heard they were filming this, and I looked back and saw how long it took to film a movie like this, 2 months shortest, 3 or 4 months at the longest. Okay? All right, that's what we're gonna have, is about 3 months, maybe 4. Okay? And if they need him for more, they'll probably do reshoots after, okay, in post-production. But there you go. Doesn't surprise me at all. I know Planet Musk. I know that, and I've been talking about that. I know. But again, nobody who is worried about any of this. Well, the stock chart does look good, but a week ago it dropped about 2%. Okay. And you got to understand is that you ask Valiant Renegade or Mexican Iron Man, they're the money guys that I listen to. And I've thought this for a long time. Those stocks are inflated. Okay. I'll go back, if you guys don't mind, and get off the subject of Slave One and the fandom fundamentalists. Last year, Disney was taking out mega loans to the tune of $22 billion here, $22 billion there, and they're already $50 billion in debt, or were, with, the merger with Fox. Okay, so they're about $100 billion in debt. They bought that stock to buy their own shares back to keep the shares inflated. Now, I always thought that was illegal. All right. Chris, probably going back to keeping the company afloat. Yeah, they are, House Atreides. They are. And they took out those loans to do that because they were in a position to be for a hostile takeover. And do you remember the rumors? Apple, la da da. Yeah. Yeah. Now, worst comes to worst, and they have to do a AT&T, and they start selling out pieces. There was a rumor that, and I think it was true, that actually Bob Chapek was thinking about selling Lucasfilm. But because they invested so much in the park and everything for Star Wars, that they decided not to. Okay, what they're doing with the popularity of The Mandalorian, they're going to reskin it in the time after Return of the Jedi. Mando Okay, with you'll see Jedi's and the Falcon. Hopefully they'll get that fucking square. Take that shit off the top of the ship and put the round dish on. Okay, because that I don't want to see anything left of the sequel trilogy. And it's just, they're going to keep it and they're going to try to work on it. And with, apparently, how many here, raise your hands, read that Atlantic article that Cameron went on with Andre, Midnight's Edge? How many? Just say in the chat. Because it was basically telling the industry and the culture in Hollywood that Kennedy is gone and Favreau's taking over. Okay, so to the people saying that, John wouldn't want to do that, why wouldn't he? All right, if you're all gonna, if people who are saying that are gonna project their own personal issues with Disney onto Jon Favreau, I'm gonna do the same thing, and I'm gonna project my original OT trilogy fandom on him, because that's who he is. He's one of us. Why wouldn't he want that? When we were kids, we walked out seeing Star Wars the first time in 1977. We were that high off the ground, and all we could think about was, I want to make movies like that. All right? Now we've got somebody like us in there. I think Maze is right. I think, it's really interesting listening to Retroblasting, talk about the celebration and basically saying he worried about what was going to happen at celebration because people are so hyped up and angry. And it's like, look, here's the deal. Sequel trilogy fans are never going to be happy unless everything that they didn't like, which is Star Wars, is destroyed. It's not going to be, because Disney, what does Disney need to do? Make money. Who is Bob Chapek responsible to? The investors. And they're not getting paid dividends right now. Okay? The stock prices are inflated. You've got fandom menace people who ignore it completely. You got sequel trilogy jackasses who don't even know this is going on. There's a contingent of people, and I've said this before, I'll say it again, I think, who actually believe that there's a forest behind Disney World and Disneyland, a money forest, where they go out every day and pull dollars out of the trees. That's not how it works. Okay, it's like, so you gotta look at this in a practical way. Sequel trilogy doesn't make any money, so don't look to Disney to be making any more of this garbage. Okay, sequel trilogy is gonna be there, and if they want to beat off to Kyle Ron, and get out their little, electric boyfriends they named Ben Solo, fine. But it's going on without them. You got your own little corner. Be happy, okay? The rest of us will go on and we'll get to see good Star Wars. I really honestly think that, Maze. Well, House Atreides, I mean, what was that great line in Reality Bites where Winona Ryder goes to Ethan Hawke? You think money flies in and out of your life like snow. It's something you have to earn or anything. That's the problem with the story group. That is the problem with the left in general. Okay. And it's very, very, very sad that they can't, they're not, they don't really understand reality. They don't really understand how things work. Um, oh, Chris, she's gone. She's in the rearview mirror. She is. I mean, I don't even, you know, they can, the never was guy, fat balding dude, can say whatever he wants, but in a practical sense, she's been gone. She's been gone since Indy 5 started filming. Disney can't afford it, and it's going to be a very long process for us. And I know some of you guys do need it written out for you, but it's not going to happen that way. She is going to get accolades. She is going to get personally uplifted, and then she'll go off and create her own goddamn studio. Okay, or go back to working with her husband, where the only good work she's ever done is working with him and the boys. Um, but yeah, she's gone. Well, Chris, have you ever? All right, here's a question: how many women who are now in their late 60s do you know that grew up in the during the hippie days, in the free speech movement, and all that, when feminism, uh, Mike Zero, just, yeah, she will. I mean, how many of you guys? Because I have. I've got sisters that are her age. I've got one who made a lot of money uh, with her own as a company that made different like things for hotels, waffle irons, Belgian waffle irons, waffle mix, etc. Called Heartland Foods, and they made a lot of money. Okay, she was the face of it, but she did not a goddamn thing. Okay, I mean, I remember she went down. They were gonna do some stuff for uh, the uh, Texas Rangers, and she met Bobby Valentine and didn't like him because he was an actual man. Okay, I'm looking at her going, God, you're kind of a bitch about this. You know, I mean, just a very angry, faux intellectual female. And she really, really, really uh, faked it till she made it. Okay, that's Kathleen Kennedy. They hate men. Men are holding them back, but they can't do anything without them. And my brother-in-law was the one that invented all this stuff. I mean, she did come up with the waffle mix, but she had a baseline to do things with, and trust me, we were all the guinea pigs. Okay, with that, it's just really interesting to me how when I look at the women that age and the phony shit and the feminist bullshit that has ruled their lives. It's really interesting to me, and it's also very sad because they're not happy women. They're not happy. I mean, and I'm gonna make a very blunt statement here. So the women who were waiting for the guys in during World War II, who worked in the factories like my mom, were a lot like we're very much like the way we should be. The 50s, you know, they were raising their kids. There's nothing wrong with that. You should be able to decide and not be shit on as a woman, not be shit on if you want to stay home. I stay home. I had my career. I can't. I mean, let's put it this way. Um, Working in politics, if you don't have the temperament for it, and I did not, is a very detriment to your health. Okay, I had ulcers. I digestive issues. That your diet's bad. You never have any real time to work out. It is just what it is. Okay, and I quit. I military wife, and that is a full time job even of itself. Okay, because if you're an officer's wife and you're the commanding officer's wife, you're like a little pinball and you're boom 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 everywhere. And I hated that. I am more set to just taking care of the house, taking care of this big furry weasel of mine named Kojak, and making sure the horse is doing well. That's it. And take care of my husband. That's it. I don't like the stress. It is not good for me. Okay. There are people out there like me who just don't want to do it. There are women out there who'd rather be with their kids. Okay. And to be honest, I really think kids do better when one of their parents is home. Okay. I am not pro divorce at all, unless there's abuse going on. And trust me, abuse goes both ways. I've seen it. As a Catholic, I'm not pro abortion. I am not pro gay marriage. I'm sorry, I have gay friends who are married. And, you know, there's a level of love and tolerance, okay, that you have to adopt to live in the real world. But, okay, that's just me because of my personal faith and belief system. I don't hate anybody, okay? But there are women out there, like Kathleen Kennedy, who bought the feminist lie hook, line, and sinker. Okay? They listened to all the bullshit Gloria Steinem and Bella Abzug and all the rest of these angry, dried up hags puked out there. Okay? You know, equal pay for equal work. Well, if he's a lineman and he's crawling up on telephone poles and you're sitting on your ass and you're a secretary, that guy should get paid more because that's a dangerous job. Okay? And he should have better insurance. And there should be a line where if something bad happens to him, his family gets something. Okay? You know? Anyway, I'm speaking about politics. Yeah, I knew Ron Paul. Tell you a story. I was waiting in the there by the elevator between Cannon and the cafeteria in all right, oh Christ, the House office building. What is the one? It wasn't Rayburn. That's on the way on the other side. It's the one in the middle. And the cafeteria's there, and they just had lunch. Bring up soda, and I'm going up, and ahead of me was Ron Paul, the guy who's now a senator from Ohio, and this female Republican congresswoman. And they all know who I was. I'm like, yes, sirs, ma'am, you can get on there. Because I was only going up to the third floor. And, oh, that's cool, Chris. And they had me come on. Rob Portman. Really tall, by the way. He is. And we get on there, and I get on, and all of a sudden, Jerry Nadler. Y'all know who Jerry Nadler is. All right. From the impeachment, the bullshit Trump impeachment thing. He's about this big and he's about that wide. He is Mr. 5x5 in a big scale. He was way bigger then. He was way fucking bigger then. Okay. He walks up and Mr. Paul, out of the goodness of his heart, um, asks Jerry, does he want to get on, and then invites him on. We're all pressed up against the wall because this guy is enormous. I mean, literally, he was almost at the time as wide as my kitchen island, which has got to be 5 feet wide. And I was like, so I get off on the third floor, and I went flying out of there like I was sprung. I was shot out of a cannon. And the look at Rob Portman's face is he's looking at Ron Paul like, you asshole. And I was like, I can get off. I can get off. So you guys can all go up together. That was the funniest thing ever. I remember, oh yeah, they did. I remember talking to my boss, Mr. Army, about Jerry Nadler, and he was just like, that guy's going to explode. He's just going to poof someday. I mean, I feel bad for him. I do. But he's such a left-wing liberal New York dickwad. It's hard to remember to be compassionate. The guy's got to be miserable. I mean, he's got to be. But anyway, back to Star Wars. So, we've got narratives being formed. And my narrative is, let's just wait. This is going to be, when they retcon the sequel trilogy, and they start a different timeline, it is going to be a very long, drawn-out process. And I'm going to tell you that, okay? It's not going to take done like that. The way I would like it. I think you guys would like it too. But it's going to happen, okay? This is just going to be one of those things where, you're just going to have to wait, but it is happening. And after the Atlantic article came out, and I went out and find it, when Cameron said on Midnight's Edge, there's this article came out in Atlantic. I went and found it and made sure everybody on Midnight's Edge read it. You got to understand subtext. You got to understand what's being said between the lines. And what is being said between the lines is what's happening. Kennedy is out. Favreau is in, without saying a word about what's really going on. Because when you get to the level that Kennedy is, no matter how she got there, we're never going to see her walked out, frog marched out. Okay, I would love it. I'd love to see her walk out with her box, having security guys around her, with tears streaming down her cheeks as she's launched out of there. And trust me, she deserves it, but she's not going to get that. But I'm going to tell you something else. Everybody in Hollywood knows. She is never going to run another studio again unless it's her own thing. He is. I mean, he really, really is. I mean, she's never going to be hired by, she tried. Last year, you guys remember the stories about how she went and shopped her wares to other studios and they said no. Part of it's because they're looking for people who are experienced in streaming. Another is because she's an incompetent jackass. And she's an ideologue. I just said he was. Yeah, I think that's what's going on. In fact, my friend, the guy who basically got, I think he is. Oh, I think you're right. Mazarus. What was, okay, let me go back. I gotta go back into the chat. Yeah, I think he's going to accept, and I think he has accepted, to be honest. It's just going to be one of those things where, now remember, we've been told big announcements coming on May 22nd next year, or May 26th. To be honest, I intend on being at Star Wars Celebration. I do. I intend to be there. I'll go by myself if I have to and just walk around and just be. Maybe run into people I know. I really do. And the reason why is because I've never been to one. And I think I really want to be at this one. Maybe if my friend John goes, not John, the one Nazareth knows, but uh, John Wells, the actor. Maybe if Lee will go, if they show up, I would definitely go. And we'll be drunk the entire time, or I will be with Lee. But, you know, but yeah, I had a point to make about Kennedy leaving in it, and I forgot it. Shit. But yeah, I think Favreau's already taken control. Oh yeah, my friend, who do you remember a couple weeks ago when I said I think we need someone to kick the hornet's nest over and get someone to say something publicly that they wouldn't otherwise? Well, he did. And Pablo said to him, if you guys remember this, after 20 years, I have no plans and I don't know what hers are. There you go. That's Pablo Hidalgo saying that. Again, read the subtext. I'm out, so she. Okay. And then when my friend came back and said something else, a fake account came back and told him to fuck off. Okay. That was probably Pablo, who realized what he'd said. Okay. So I'm pretty sure they're out. Yeah. And hers, yeah, Kathy. Because basically my friend said, you know, since Kathy's going to be leaving, what are your plans? Maybe you should leave now. It might be best. May the force be with you. It pays to be British because they always come up with the snarkiest of snark. And I'm gonna tell you something. When I read that, I could hear it in this British accent, and I was laughing my ass off. I was literally laughing my ass off. But anyway, yeah. I mean, it's happening. Doomcock is right. All right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to tell the idiots from there that night. But yeah, he's right about this. And if she goes, they all go. And, again, Raylos, you can have your sequel trilogy. You can have your sequel trilogy. It's just not going to be the timeline everybody else is following. All right? And don't let that bother you. No one is going to go there and kick your sandcastle over. No one gives a fuck about your sandcastle. Go, beat off to Kyle, Ron, and Ray and, all the racist stuff about Finn and Rose Tico all you want. Okay? But it's done. It's like this. You got Leslie Headland saying her movie's going ahead, her TV show. And then that idiot Grace Randolph saying, well, they're actually casting for Acolyte. This is the woman who made an asshole of herself with the Pedro Pascal thing, remember? And the first time she talks about Star Wars in months, it's about this, and everybody automatically assumes it's real. I'm going to make a prediction, and I'm going to be right about this. The Acolyte will never see the light of day. And the reason why Leslie Headland raised her ugly head and said what she said to AV Club, who the fuck is AV Club anyway, is because she's trying to make it so Favreau doesn't have a choice, and he has to fund it. Okay, and he won't. I'd be like, oh, I'm not going to do it. Oh, I'm not. Or maybe there'll somehow be a deal where if they fund it, then Gina comes back. Even though I'm at a point that with Gina where I'm like, well, if they offer you the job and you decide no, then I would tell Jon Favreau, get Ronda Rousey. Get Ronda Rousey. Get another chick who can do the role, because I'm done. All right, what happened to Gina was wrong. What they did was wrong. But again, we're being played right now in all this, and I don't like it. I really, really don't. And I don't like kissing anybody's ass. I mean, she played a character that was just introduced, that Star Wars really isn't about anyway, that Star Wars could survive without. And what we were doing was defending her. And if the people that pulled that shit are gone, there's no reason why she shouldn't come back. And if she doesn't, we're gonna know she used Jon Favreau, and she really didn't give a shit to begin with. I wouldn't know who the hell she was without The Mandalorian. I wouldn't. All right, I don't think any of us would. Okay, and she better remember that. She better. I'm telling you that right now. I am subbed to Disney Plus because the Bad Batch is getting good. This last one was really good. Let's talk about the bitching about Omega. And somebody, an EU fundamentalist, was, hey, all over about Dave Filoni and, so Boba Fett's Alpha and Omega's Omega. Yeah. Oh, I can if you're I can if you're an EU fundamentalist. I can. I can see them hating her. First off, she's not a Mary Sue. She fucks up all the time. Second of all, making her the last of the clones is perfectly fine and legitimate and works in the Star Wars universe. Okay, so the bitching and moaning about her is just bitching to bitch and unhappiness and misery and fuck. Why? Oh, she is. I mean, she's technically his sister. And it's really, I mean, look, the Bad Batch is really, really, really dark. It's dark. It's dark as fuck. Okay? It is part Western. It's part kind of horror show. I mean, when they're in that old cloning facility and that thing blows up and that Frankenstein thing lands on, ugh, so grossed out. It is going to get darker because what I think is going to happen, I think it's only one season. What I think is going to happen is the Bad Batch end up dead, and I think Boba Fett's going to come in and grab her. I think he's gonna show up. All right, and what's really interesting is that it kind of affirms the gunfight between Fett and Cad Bane, because Cad Bane's wearing this thing over his head, and it looks like it's a protective or like a, hey, Abu Nas. Abu Nas is in the house, my man. How you doing, my guy? And it's just, I mean, it's fantastic. And I'm having a blast watching it. So, I mean, I don't get it. This is my philosophy. When it's just like with my dog or with my horse, when Disney does something right, they get a cookie. When they do something wrong, they get their asses kicked. Okay, and you've always got to do a deep dive into what's going on with things like renaming Boba Fett's ship. La la la. Okay, well, it was Lego that did it. So far, there's no renaming on any of the official websites for Star Wars. So you know, if it's Lego, don't buy Lego. Okay. I've known Abanas and we go back to all the way to like what 2018, I think. Yeah, I mean we've been friends for a long time. I mean, I can tell you stories about Twitter hijinks where the first Freddie Prinze Jr. fight that everybody had with Pablo Hidalgo in the middle of it. Guys, that was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. Prinze Jr. was, I think, probably coked out of his mind and attacking people. And, it was the funniest thing. I mean, what a dickhead. Anyway, yeah, we go back a long ways. Oh, by the way, I did order Boba Fett Black Series, so he's coming. He'll be here soon. We went to the gun show yesterday, and they had a Django Fett, and I should have bought it because you get collectors there. And I walked by, I looked at it, and as we're walking out of that part, because it was like in two sections of this exhibition hall, and I looked at my husband, and I'm like, I should go back there and look at it. And I almost did. Because I would have. We didn't come home with anything. But yeah, there's actually a 45 long Colt made by Taylor. I think the company's called Taylor and Sons, and it's a company in Virginia that they use it for the cowboy shoots. Oh God, it's cool. It totally looked like something you would see in a Western. It was just fucking cool. Great bluing on it, that old school. And I'm looking at it. It was only like 500 some odd dollars. But no, we didn't pull the trigger on that. Ha ha, either. I was really sad. But I really want a revolver like that. I don't want, the ones you see like whatever, like a Python. I want an old school Western revolver. Single action, but as far as Omega goes, there's nothing wrong with the character. In fact, what's really interesting is that she is a totally middle finger to the story group. What did I see on Friday that just blew me away? That was really interesting. It basically kind of referenced Rey in a not. Oh, that's okay, Abanas. It was an indirect fuck you to Rey, and it was, I can't remember what it was, but it was so fantastic that I can't even. I mean, I was like, oh my God. And you'd have to really watch the show to see it. Maybe someone later can come in and comment and drop. Maybe I have to watch it again. I probably will. But anyway, look, I have to go. I'm going to go to Hobby Lobby and look around. We're getting ready for the 4th of July. And I'm already planning on what I'm going to make. For 4th of July, I think I'm going to order a couple of steaks and some other things. But I got to look around and make plans. And, just making up a list for grocery shopping because we didn't go yesterday because I was freaking tired. Anyway, this is Steph signing off. See you, Mazeris. See you, Revan. See you, Abu Nas. You guys. And I love you guys. And I'll be in the chat on Midnight's Edge, but probably not talking a lot because I'm going to be driving around. Okay. And I might be up at the farm with my horse. So, talk to you guys later. Have a good afternoon. And if something happens, or another article drops about Lucasfilm, I'll be on here to talk about it. Anyway, see you later. May the Force be with you, and see you around the galaxy.